الكريم من كل شيطان رجيم. أنت العفو فاعف عني، أنت الغفور الرحيم. اللهم إني أعوذ بجلال وجهك الكريم من كل شيطان رجيم. أنت العفو فاعف عني، أنت الغفور الرحيم. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك وأنعم على نبينا الكريم الأكرم صلى الله عليه وسلم. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك وأنعم على نبينا الكريم الأكرم صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم إني أسألك بكل اسم هو لك سميت به نفسك أو أنزلته في كتابك أو علمته أحدا من خلقك أن تجعل القرآن ربيع قلبي ونور بصري وجلاء حزني وذاب همي يا
محمد رسول الله عليه صلاة الله وآله والأحبة. لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله عليه صلاة الله وآله والأحبة. Be a blazing fire of truth, be a soothing balm of peace. With the light of your sincerity, break the clouds of tyranny. May your faith be like a blessed tree, give your shade to all who seek. May your roots run true and deep, take your strength from Al-Habib. Ya Nabi salam alaik, Ya Rasul salam alaik, Ya Habib salam alaik.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the launching and the handover of the Bangsamoro Development Plan. To begin with our program, let's praise the reading or the reciting of the Quran by Qari Nu'man Pambayabaya.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا لقيتم الذين كفروا زحفا فلا تولوهم الأدبار إلا متحرفا لقتال أو متحيزا إلى فئة فقد باء بغضب من الله ومأواه جهنم وبئس المصير. فلم تقتلوهم ولكن الله قتلهم وما رميت إذ رميت ولكن الله رمى وليبلي المؤمنين منه بلاء حسنا إن الله سميع عليم. صدق الله العظيم.
So, to give us the rationale and to discuss about the Bangsamoro Development Plan, may we call on the Executive Director of the Bangsamoro Development Agency, Sheikh Mohammed Shuaib Yaqub.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Excellencies, honorable guests, friends, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And good morning. My deep appreciation to the BDP Advisory Council and the core planning team for their untiring efforts to bring the plan to successful completion. Needless to say that true taste of the plan and its envisaged output and outcomes will lie in its effective implementation. For this, PDA will look forward to even stronger partnership with all concerned government departments and development partners. Thank you and very good morning to all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much, Director Yaqub. Let me just highlight some of the points raised by ED Yaqub in his speech. The Bangsamoro Development Plan is being pushed by the MILF through the Bangsamoro Development Agency, and it is the roadmap or the blueprint for the development of the Bangsamoro. It is anchored on the gains of the comprehensive agreement on the Bangsamoro and the past agreements with the aim to build the foundations of a just economy. And when we say just economy, it means strengthening the institutions, promoting greater access to social services, jobs, and livelihood opportunities, and the creation of citizen security, justice, and the rule of law in the Bangsamoro areas and the nearby areas. But what made the BDP sets apart from other plan is the process of formulating the BDP. According to Idiaco, BDP was formulated by everyone. There is inclusivity, there is co-ownership of the plan. The government, the international partners, the donor agencies were part of it, the local partners and local consultants, even our women, our youth, and most especially the community were consulted in the process of the formulation of the BDP plan. That's a very interesting document for us. And to move on, we would like to call on the chairperson of the Peace Panel of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front to deliver his message, Chairman Muhagir Iqbal.
Honor Chairman Al-Hajj, Honorable Secretary President Bangsamoro, His Excellency Datuk Tunku Ucapan Bintang Muhammad, Honorable Budget Secretary Bangsamoro, Honorable United Nations Resident Coordinator Malaysia Pertama, China Country Director Mariati Nima, my good friend Max Stephens of the World Bank, fellow members of the Minor Central Committee, especially Brother Gali Jafar and Gali Sulaiman Moralia, my colleagues in the Malian Peace Panel, and my colleagues in the Bangsamoro Transition Commission, friends, guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We give so much importance today to another historic document that will chart the future of the Bangsamoro. The Bangsamoro Development Plan outlines the specific course of actions needed to rehabilitate, reconstruct, and develop a region whose people, environment, and resources were destroyed by decades of war. We have concluded political agreements with the CAP or the Comprehensive Agreement on the Bangsamoro as the complete catalogue of every major milestone in the 17 long years of negotiation. We have commenced with an equally tedious legal process, starting the drafting and completion of the Bangsamoro Basic Law and the ongoing Senate and Congressional hearings. Now, the technical requirements of another longer journey, that of genuinely improving the lives of our people, has been started as well, and hopefully a very good beginning today, the formal turnover of the finished Bangsamoro Development Plan. This is not yet the official development plan of the Bangsamoro government, because that would happen the moment the Bangsamoro Transition Authority is established, hopefully in 2016. Strictly speaking, this plan is the MILF development plan for the Bangsamoro. Be this as it may, the importance of the development plan, nay, its indispensability is obvious. It is an instrument that no government can afford to neglect. Such a keen awareness has driven us in the MILF Peace Panel to give prominence in the annex on revenue generation and well-being, a particular provision for the formulation of development plans, starting with the Bangsamoro Development Plan. Premised on our own unique needs and aspirations, the Bangsamoro Development Plan shall be our guide in meeting the economic and social imperatives of our war-weary, impoverished, and marginalized communities. This is consistent with national development goals, since we are also equally aware that the economy of the prospective Bangsamoro is inextricably linked to Mindanao as a whole and to the rest of the Philippines. More than material progress, Our goal is total human development, a development that is centered on man, his relationship with his Creator, and the rightful discharge of his God-given role as vicegerent on earth. To make ourselves as Khilafah or Khalifa or vicegerent is our development goal, being a reflection of our religious belief and our identity as Bangsamoro. To better understand this goal and role, we need a liberating education. To be able to harness the wealth of nature, we have to embrace science and technology. To be able to harness them rightfully, justly, and rationally, we have to do it in the confines of faith and morality. It's always nice to go back to basics. For life, after all, is basically simple. Food, shelter, clothing, health, study, roads, markets, places of worship, centers of government, and other social institutions, and occasional leisure with family and friends. Above all, peaceful coexistence with everyone. These are the basic elements that can drive us further into better heights of individual and collective achievements. There will always remain in us a nostalgic remembrance of the distant past, when the Sulu and Maguindanao were vibrant centers of trade and commerce with Arabs, Chinese, Malays, and even the Dutch. The valiant seafaring Iranos and Badjals and the people of the lake, our brothers Maranao, cultivated their crafts and wares and provided manpower and skills to what was an incipient service economy, unfortunately nipped in the bud by the onslaught of colonization. Now, we do not only have historic documents in our hands, we also have, and probably the most important one, the historic opportunity to bring back the glory of our past and build our lives in decency, security, and progress. The formulation of the Bangsamoro Development Plan is already an exercise in development planning, a power included in the 50th exclusive powers of the Bangsamoro. But as a famous line in a movie goes, with power comes greater responsibility. Indeed, the completion of the Bangsamoro Development Plan, greater responsibility is now given to those who would be privileged to implement it. We should never lose sight of the fact that the Bangsamoro Development Plan is not an end itself. This should not turn out to be just an academic exercise, as happened to not so few entities that favor form over substance, text over action. The next big step, the next big responsibility is to implement the plan. Like the old adage, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. That journey for the mile starts today. But for this occasion, let us content ourselves in the celebration of this achievement. I congratulate those who worked so hard in a short time to produce the Bangsamoro Development Plan. I thank the United Nations, the World Bank, Japan International Cooperation Agency, the European Union, the Asia Foundation, and the various aid agencies in the Philippines for the material and manpower assistance, as well as for the continuing commitment to assist further of this plan. I also thank the leadership of the Central Committee of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front for the trust and support given to me and the Bangsamoro Development Agency for the stewardship of the Bangsamoro Development Plan. Thank you very much and wassalam.
Thank you, Chair Iqbal. We will now be turning over or handing over the Bangsamoro Development Plan, and we would like to request the Chairman of the Bangsamoro Development Agency, Dr. Safrullah M. Tipatuan, for his message.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله الكريم سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وبعد. Our Chairman, Alhaj Murad Ibrahim, and other members of the MILF Central Committee, Secretary Budgetary from PBN, Secretary Teresita Quintos Neles of OPA, Matt Stephens of World Bank, Mr. Noria Kiniwa of JICA, Loisa Carvalho, the Resident Coordinator of the United Nations in the Philippines, members of the BDA family, fellow Mujahideen, distinguished guests and dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. When the Bangsamoro Development Agency was created by the Imalib Central Committee in 2012 as a product of the ongoing peace process, we have been consistently aspiring to formulate the Bangsamoro Development Plan. This can be witnessed or testified by one of my predecessor, Dr. Dandawanday, who is present. This Bangsamoro Development Plan that will serve as a comprehensive roadmap for the just, equitable, and sustainable reconstruction and development of the Bangsamoro communities ravaged by several decades of bloody armed conflict. At the BDA, we have been seeking to address the fundamental needs and aspirations of the Bangsamoro people who have lived in a vicious cycle of injustice, violence, and poverty for generations. However, constraints on technical expertise and other resources hindered the realization of this dream. Our initial odyssey have been difficult and lonely, as during this time, development partners who would truly engage with BDA are very scarce during those days. The road ahead may have been rough and thorny, but we persevered. We derived inspiration from the confidence bestowed on us by the MILF leadership, knowing that there are quite a number of Bangsamoro who are more technically qualified than us to do the job, but we are given the rare opportunity of serving the Bangsamoro. When the framework agreement on the Bangsamoro was signed on 15 October 2012, a sudden change in the outlook of donors and development partners from one of indifference to one of eagerness to support the preparation of the plan took place. This is understandable, as the FAB is the first breakthrough agreement that solidly galvanized the commitment of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front and the government of the Philippines to peacefully resolve the decades-old conflict in Mindanao. Partners' confidence was further reinforced when the comprehensive agreement on the Bangsamoro was also signed in 27 March of 2014. Indeed, the FAB and the CAB paved the way towards the crafting of a blueprint for development in the Bangsamoro. As a demonstration of their overwhelming support, aid agencies and development partners responded positively to the convening of the MTF-funded first Donors Forum conducted by the BDA at the Asian Institute of Management Conference Center, Manila on the 3rd of September 2013. The basis of this important work was an official directive from no less than the Honorable Chairman of the MILF Central Committee that mandated our agency in 22 March of 2013 to coordinate with donors and funding partners, to conduct needs assessment in the Bangsamoro, and to expedite the formulation of the Bangsamoro Development Plan. The schedule of completion of the plan was initially set in March of 2014. However, this was initially hampered by unexpected events beyond our control and that of our development partners. The destructive earthquake that hit Bohol and the super typhoon Yolanda that devastated Tacloban and other adjoining areas in Visayas region temporarily shifted the attention of aid agencies from our work to the immediate relief and rehabilitation of these ravaged areas. In addition, there were also other unforeseen technical challenges and geographic location issues that were encountered along the way while implementing the various activities. All of these issues contributed to the delay of the plan completion. This work is rendered extraordinarily challenging by the fact that it is being done for our homeland that is just emerging from a long history of violent conflict. We are well aware that we have to set overarching targets that cannot be easily transformed into numerical figures as stability and confidence building, while at the same time realizing the need to set quantifiable goals in other thematic areas of the plan. In so doing, we have to be constantly mindful of utilizing a peace-building lens, believing that no amount of prosperity could be achieved and preserved if the roots of the conflict are not addressed and peace and justice are not attained. This work is designed as a plan by the Bangsamoro for the Bangsamoro. It is a means by which the Bangsamoro dreams and right to self-determination as a people will be finally realized. But with all humility, the completion of this project would not have been possible without the support of local and international funding agencies and development partners who mobilized financial assistance and technical experts to support the BDA core planning team in the conduct of its activities. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, let me take this opportunity to convey our gratitude to all individuals and groups who, in one way or the other, contributed to the realization of this plan. We express our gratitude to the World Bank managed Mindanao Trust Fund and all its donor partners, such as the European Union, Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, New Zealand Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Canada Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, the Swedish International Development Agency, the United States Agency for International Development, for allocating funds and deploying local and international consultants for assisting the BDA core planning team. We also recognize the significant support of the Japan International Cooperation Agency in mobilizing consultants that worked on several thematic and sub-thematic areas of the plan, and for deploying consultants also in the BDP core planning team. We acknowledge the very important contributions of the agencies of the United Nations and the International Organization on Migration that addressed potential gaps that could have rendered the plan incomplete if left unattended. The deployment of their consultants to assist the core planning team to complete its task, even after the submission of reports on the different thematic and sub-thematic areas undertaken by them, is a testament to their unwavering support for peace and development in Mindanao. Our thanks also go to the Asian Development Bank for providing an invaluable support to our advisory council and in procuring technical experts who assisted us in producing a study on the sub-themes on infrastructure and regional cooperation. The Asia Foundation also deserves our sincere appreciation for providing technical experts who worked on the thematic areas of governance and security. Our plan would have been incomplete without the attention given to the private sector initiatives, particularly in agribusiness, halal industry, and Islamic banking and finance. It is a fact that private investment serves as the real engine for economic growth and development in the community. Thanks to the team of experts provided by the Foundation for Economic Freedom, who conducted an MTF-funded study for the BDA entitled Strategic Roadmaps for the Development of Agribusiness Industry, Halal Food Industry, and Islamic Banking and Finance in the Bangsamoro, dated June 2014. This study also benefited from parallel workshops being implemented by the IFF and the Philippine Council for Islam and Democracy, and funded by the Australian government on private investment opportunities in the Bangsamoro that commenced in November of 2013. Both the aforementioned study and workshops have provided vital inputs in the formulation of the BDP. One Herculean challenge in formulating the plan is the difficult access to available data and other statistics that are needed for carrying out the analysis by the consultants and technical staff of the BDP team. Access to this indispensable data would have been impossible without the cooperation of the different regional and national line agencies of the government. In particular, we would like to express our thanks to the consistent support of NEDA, OPAP, DBM, and the Department of Finance for facilitating the timely cooperation of these various government agencies. Also, we are deeply indebted to all the members of the BDP Project Steering Committee, the BDP Core Planning Team, the BD Board of Directors, the BDP Advisory Council, and BD focal persons, as well as local and international consultants and non-government organizations such as the Mindanao Civil Society Organizations Platform for Peace and the Consortium of Bangsamoro Civil Society and other civil society groups who contributed to the successful formulation of this plan. Without their sincere and untiring efforts, this project would have remained a dream. We also express our sincere gratitude to our principal, the MILF Central Committee, particularly the Honorable Chairman, Al-Hajj Murad Ibrahim, for entrusting to us this challenging work. It is through their inspiration and guidance that we were able to accomplish this plan. Lastly, let me not end this message without sincerely dedicating this humble achievement to the two most important persons who have served as a beacon of light to our strugglers in the emancipation of the Bangsamoro people from a long history of injustice and oppression. And I refer to the former MILF Chairman and Amirul Mujahideen, Al-Marhum Ustaz Salamat Hashim, and former Vice Chairman for Military Affairs, Al-Marhum Alim Abdulaziz Mimbandas. This is also true to all Bangsamoro martyrs who have dedicated their lives to this struggle so that one day peace, justice, and freedom will reign in the Bangsamoro. Finally, our praises and thanks belong to our Almighty Allah for giving us the strength, perseverance, and wisdom to fulfill a daunting task, the preparation of the Bangsamoro Development Plan. May this plan be instrumental in realizing our dream for a dynamic, peaceful, and prosperous Bangsamoro. Ladies and gentlemen, with distinct honor and privilege, I am respectfully turning over the Bangsamoro Development Plan, a product of collaborative efforts, to the Chairman of the MILF Central Committee, Honorable Brother Al-Hajj Murad Ibrahim. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Maybe at this point we will request Chair Iqbal and Chair Darapanan and Chairman Al-Hajj Murad Ibrahim to do the official handover of the BDP.
Walang po kayo, sir.
Safe. Thank you, gentlemen. Takbir. Thank you for that. And we believe the chairman of the Central Committee of Islamic Liberation Front is now ready to deliver his message. Ladies and gentlemen, on this ready, help me welcome Chairman Al-Hajj Murad Ibrahim.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wa bihi nasta'in. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good morning. Your Excellency, Tengku Datu Abdul Ghaffar bin Tengku Muhammad, our very able facilitator, Honorable Secretary Jing Dennis, OPAP, Honorable Secretary Quds Abad, Madam Luisa Carvalho of the United Nations, Mr. Niwa of Taika, Mr. Stephen of the World Bank, my colleagues in the Central Committee, headed by the first Vice Chairman and the second Vice Chairman, the head of the Bangsamoro Islamic Armed Forces, our Chief of Staff, local government officials, members of the Bangsamoro Development Agency, members of the international donors who are here, distinguished guests, sisters, brothers, and friends, a very welcome, a very warm welcome to all of you, and good morning. Today is another good day for the Bangsamoro. Nearly 2 years ago, the Bangsamoro Development Agency, or BDA, was tasked to develop a comprehensive roadmap for the social recovery and rehabilitation of the region as part of the MILF GPH peace agreement that will pave the way for the lasting resolution of the armed conflict and the establishment of the Bangsamoro government. For the Bangsamoro Development Plan, or BDP, the overall goal is to support these peace achievements by laying the foundation of a just, peaceful, and prosperous Bangsamoro society. The aim is to see our communities empowered through a process of inclusive, balanced, and sustainable economic growth, and their resolve is strengthened by setting in place a responsive, participatory, and transparent
system of governance. The responsibility of producing a plan that would guarantee the transformation of the deplorable conditions of our grassroots communities to a life with dignity is not an easy task. Nevertheless, against all arduous odds, our brothers and sisters in the BDA, ably supported by our local and international senior advisors, have worked extremely hard to craft the plan that reflects the needs and aspirations of the Bangsamoro communities. With difficult lessons learned from the past, we understand that enduring peace and stability can only prevail once the underlying roots of conflict are finally addressed and opportunities are afforded to the people for a better economic livelihood. This is indeed the spirit and approach taken in the BDP, and we commend the BDA for conducting a series of informed community visioning exercises right across the Bangsamoro core territories, undertaking the economic and sector analysis and proposing appropriate recommendation to move forward with the implementation. The BDA has our gratitude for the service they have done for the Bangsamoro people. The MILF Central Committee accepts with great pride and fully supports the Bangsamoro Development Plan. The Bangsamoro people wish to reclaim our destiny and become a beacon of hope for the country as a trusted partner in regional and national affairs with all Bangsamoro communities coexisting in peace, respecting diversity of culture, and securing a dignified quality of life. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, for generations, the Bangsamoro people have lived in a vicious cycle of injustice, violence, and poverty. These have caused severe and complex development challenges that will require creative strategies beyond the quote, business as usual unquote approach to catch up to the national levels of development, let alone the full realization of a robust economy and revitalized society in the Bangsamoro. Overcoming these challenges is an act of social justice and economic equity. It is the protection of the Bangsamoro's fundamental right to a decent, dignified, and prosperous life. Hence, the BDP envisions to provide the groundwork for a just economy that will strengthen institutions, promote greater access to social services, jobs and livelihood opportunities, and create citizen security, justice, and rule of law in the Bangsamoro. All of these aspects are clearly necessary so we can all flourish in a peaceful environment that celebrates diversity and foster progress while still retaining our inherent Bangsamoro identity and cultural values. The MILF is a pro-people struggle committed to the creation of building bridges and the closing of divisions among the Bangsamoro and the Filipino people. As I have mentioned at other recent events, the fruits of our 40-year struggle for peace and right to self-determination is not for the MILF alone. It is indeed for all Bangsamoro people as a whole and all other people who resides in the envisioned Bangsamoro core territory and its adjacent region. But we are more than our boundaries. We are defined by our shared hopes for a better future that is stable, secure, and peaceful for our children. The comprehensive agreement on the Bangsamoro opened the door of possibility for us. President Benigno Aquino III has remained resolute in our agreement. As with him, we are optimistic of the full government and public support to see the passing of the basic law within the year or early 2015, inshallah. Inasmuch as peace is more than the end of conflict, development is more than a plan. The formation of the Bangsamoro government and its implementation of the BDP projects and programs will require massive human capacity with skilled capabilities as well as institution building mechanism. We call on our young Bangsamoro professionals to help in the reconstruction of our region. It is a daunting task, but it is one that we are ready and committed for its success because there is no other alternative. We could not have this far without the assistance of the Philippine government and its 9 agencies, particularly OPAP, NEDA, Department of Finance, and other national agencies who have shared their resources and technical skills in the formulation of the Bangsamoro Development Plan. To the members of international aid community and development partner organization who have been with us since the signing of the framework agreement on the Bangsamoro in 2012. Thank you for your invaluable support. To the local government units, the ARMM, civil society organizations, and the academy, you have our gratitude for your contribution to the Bangsamoro Development Plan. They say heroes are those who try and continue to try to make the world a better place, whether in small or great measures. You, along with the men and women of Bangsamoro, are the heroes of our children. Thank you for staying the hard but steady course with us. We hope you continue to join us in our effort as we move a step closer towards peace and progress in the Bangsamoro. Mga luso namin sa dyan ng mga mujahidin, sa gunagay na isa niya pangkatang kano kinapaninindag ka. Nagadat kano sa development plan. Anya ba imabaloy tumutungo sa kita no, saan daw anya imakatundong kararan tano siya kano kapaninindag tano niya sa timan aliba. Niya ba imabaloy guide tano kagina yang importante na unga no kinapaninindag tano na magandang tanong bunga niyo. Kagina, apyangin na ni kapya na kapasada. Apyangin na ni kapya na kinagayunan sa gobyerno ng Pilipinas sa niya, amay kadimag ang bulangan, hindi magandang bulangan mo sa kita no. Mag-insan sunarasay, kuwapya sudapon mungkin parasay. Na yang importante na magandang tanong-tanang suunga no na kinapaninintag ganun sa nagkarami pa at kuwagon na anong magandang tanong siya sa dunya yamasra na rin sa gaya sa Allah. Plano niya na mampumba sa dokumento na pinirman karatas na pinirman. Magagabyahin niya Amerika langon tanong nagtatabangan. Langon tanong na mamikal. Mayroon tanong umanin Amerika pamikalan tanong panunin kang duwa. Kaya importante na hilingin mo paduman na doon paduman tanong sandaw tanong kusangol sa kanunyaba ang mga tipo. Inyaba ikinapagapas tanong sa maadan. Inyaba plano niya plano sa development, sa development po siya sa kanong pigiran ng material development, kaabag siya kanong spiritual development na importante tanong ma-development ba siya sa kita. Ginagamay ito na panggata namin sa kanong sa mamikal tanong, doon tatabangan tanong sa kanong kapalakaw kanong niya plano ng umbungan. Niya plano na kanaumbungan pa mo sa maya. Okay na may kamakatindag rin inshallah so Bangsamoro Transition Authority na isubmit ano sa kanong Bangsamoro Transition Authority kando yan ma-adapt a plano siya kanong gobyerno ng Bangsamoro. May ma-adapt o gobyerno ng Bangsamoro na mimbawi aso niya ang plano na plano ng hindi wa Bangsamoro inshallah. We carry on family lives lost and sacrifices of our brothers and sisters who believe that the Bangsamoro will rise again. It will take decades of committed hard work and investment from us, the national government, development partners, and the private business sector to strengthen Bangsamoro's resilience and to ensure that the momentum of the peace process and the initial dividends of the peace are sustained. But the promise of better days are here as we push forward today with the Bangsamoro Development Plan. We journey on cognizant of those who came before us and of those who will later carry on the torch in ensuring Bangsamoro's recovery. As long as we stay steadfast and perseverant and all move in one direction for working towards the promotion and eventual realization of a just, peaceful, and prosperous Bangsamoro, we will succeed, inshallah. With this, I greet you a very good morning and a pleasant day today, and may Allah bless us all and guide us always in all our undertakings. وَلِلَّهِ التَّوْفِيقِ وَالْهِدَايَةِ وَالسَّلَامُ عَلَيْكُمْ وَرَحْمَةُ اللَّهِ وَبَرَكَاتُهُ.
Moving on, we now have the former Director General of the National Security Department of the Prime Minister's Division of Malaysia, and he's the Secretary of the National Security Council. Ladies and gentlemen, the Malaysian facilitator of the government of the Philippines and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front Peace Negotiation, His Excellency Tengku Dato' Abdul Ghaffar bin Tengku Mohammed.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We pray to Allah and Almighty for the precious day today. And good morning to all. Mr. Chairman, Al-Haj Murad, Chairman of MLF, Vice Chairman, Zali Jaffa of the MLF, Vice Chairman, Mr. Ali of the MLF, and the members of the Central Committees, and members of the High Command of the Bangsamoro Armed Forces, and Honorable Secretary and Honorable Secretary Dallas, and members of the World Bank, UN, and international communities, and members of the Bangsamoro communities, and members of the local government, the mayors, ex-mayors, Datu Tekau, Masura. I would like to congratulate the PDA and the for able to realize the most important document in the process of this process. Congratulations, PDA and Marat. This is another milestone achieved in the peace process. This blueprint, we set the building of the future Bangsamoro. And we have, in the past 3 years, achieved all the milestones, framework agreements, annexes, and comprehensive agreements. And of course, Bangsamoro Festival. The blueprints of economic development of the Bangsamoro, it is an output of the third Tripoli Agreement in year 2001 with the creation of the BDA. This is one of the dreams of the late Ustad Sultan, who what he once told me, we have to do economic for the people of the Bangsamoro. So the blueprint is the realization of the late Selamat dreams and vision. The blueprint is the second peace dividend given by the government. The first dividend is of course basic law. But the most important thing of the dividend is that you are the writer of this document, the basic law. It's been written by the people of Bangsamoro. And this economic blueprint is written by the people of Bangsamoro. This is very unique. Never in history of world history that the revolutionary group are able to write economic blueprint. You should be thankful to yourself Because these are the first achievement, besides all the series of the achievement they have done. It's one of the classic contribution of the Filipinos, and Bangsamoro to the world. This will be the lesson learned in the future, where the conflicting parties are able to write, set the direction of how they're going to live in the future. Because the two documents which is important, this law and the blueprints will set the direction in terms of the governance, in terms of the economic well-being of Bangsamoro. I'd like to once again congratulate Dr. and staff for able to produce the document. But unfortunately, I'm not able to read it yet. As I said, this presentation and over of the document to the MLF is one of the most historic, because this is the time where the revolutionary organization able to write economic blueprint. Congratulations, MLF, for that. What my hope in the content of the blueprints is one. This blueprint economic development must be able to bridging the gaps of all Bangsamoro people, including atheists, Christian, and two, to consider all the needs of various ethnic in the region, the Highlanders, the Plain people, and the Sea people. That should be reflected in this document. And for the Philippine government, I see this document as setting a new milestone in domestic economy. It should be the catalyst for the economic growth in Maguindanao, the peace and economic directions. It will help the whole of Philippine nation cater for the 100 million population. However, I would like to point out a few pointers as a reminder, not as advising, just a reminder that one, the document is beautiful, well colored, but delivery must be substantial. That is important. The delivery, you can say anything, but delivery, true. The direction, economic direction must reflect the need of the people here, not the need of other people. Unfortunately, I didn't read the document, but that's how I like to point out. 3, there must be a review mechanism. You have to review from time to time, because the direction might be off right tangent and put in the right perspective. 3, this document must be well supported by the people of Bangsamoro, including the lake people, the plain people, and the sea people, plus the other ethnic groups. And it must be well supported by the national government. Without this support, I think it is just becoming a mere piece of paper. And of course, I call on my colleague from World Bank and EU's
all the international community to support these documents and implementation of the economic development programs. Another point that I like to touch is that there must be a component for the veterans who once upon a time initiate a struggle in the process, both MLF, MILF, and other traditional groups of people to involve and bring about to enhance the betterment of the Bangsamoro. I think that is my message, and I like to say, Takbir, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Thank you.
Jazakallah khairan, His Excellency Dr. Muhammad for that. Ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary of the Office of the Presidential Advisor in the Peace Process, Honorable Teresita Quites Delis. Madam.
With deep respect and esteem, Tuhan Al-Haj Murad, the first and second vice chairs, and the members of the Central MILF Central Committee, Chair Mohamed Iqbal, and the members of the BPC and the MILF negotiating panel, Dr. Safrullah Lipatuan, and the officers and members of the BPA. His Excellency, Tengku Datu Abud Bakar, representatives of the World Bank, the UN and JICA, and other development partners, my colleagues from national and local government, and I am joined here by Secretary Abad of DBM, which is certainly a crucial agency in transforming the BDP into reality. Members and supporters of the MILF, CSO and private sector leaders and advocates, friends and fellow travelers in the journey towards just and lasting peace. My thanks to our hosts for the invitation to be with you and all our peace partners this beautiful Sunday morning as we mark another milestone in the peace process, with a formal turnover to the MILF Central Committee of the Bangsamoro Development Plan, marking its official adoption and launch by the MILF leadership. My congratulations to the leadership and members of the MILF for this occasion that unveils a key component in bringing peace and progress in the Bangsamoro. And I congratulate the members of the Bangsamoro Development Agency and its partners for completing this valuable tool for development. A new dawn has come, and with the coming of light is the rise of the Bangsamoro. Indeed, we have come so far from decades of conflict, grief, and loss. Peace that has been elusive is now within our grasp. The milestones after milestones we have achieved over challenges and difficulties we have faced these past few years under the administration of President Benigno S. Aquino III are a testament to the strength of commitment and desire of the government and the MILF, with the help of our partners, to bring just and lasting peace to the Bangsamoro. The comprehensive agreement on the Bangsamoro that we have forged has laid the roadmap for achieving our goal of establishing the Bangsamoro. We look into the future and see genuine autonomy thriving in the midst of Mindanao. We see the leadership of the MILF at the helm, the reins in your hands, steering the Bangsamoro towards progress, inshallah. With the Bangsamoro Development Plan, the way ahead is now bathed in light. Enough times has it been said that we cannot have peace without development. and we cannot have development without peace. Both are necessary components in ensuring better lives for our people. Peace and development have to be hand in hand, perhaps in the same way that we, the national government, and you, the MILF, also have to closely work together to achieve what we hope to see in the Bangsamoro. What makes this Bangsamoro development plan even more valuable is its attempt to present a clear vision of peace and development that was crafted by your own hands and came from the hearts and minds of those who have struggled for so long to bring peace in the communities. The Bangsamoro Development Plan is important because it gathers the collective hopes and aspirations of the Bangsamoro people, government leaders, partners in the business and private sectors, and civil society organizations into a concrete plan. It is a vision of the Bangsamoro, by the Bangsamoro, for the Bangsamoro. We know it has not been easy getting to this good place in our long-drawn peace process. The way has been fraught by challenges and yes, landmines that sometimes seem poised to shatter all that the parties have worked for. Certainly, there were times during the negotiations when we thought we would not be able to bridge the gaps that divided the two parties in concept, language, and yes, passion. In forging the BBP, the gap had to be crossed in terms of understanding concepts and appreciating the institutional imperatives for accountable governance and the delivery of government services where they are most needed. Certainly, there were times when the way forward seemed as dim and as uncertain as the past that we are coming from. And yet we, the parties, with our partners, stayed the course. We have kept hope with a promise. The Aquino administration has committed itself to the peace process with the MILF. This commitment did not end with the signing of the CAB. It will persist until we have achieved its full implementation. We are committed to walk the path towards peaceful and genuine autonomy with you. We stand ready to provide whatever help and guidance may be needed to ensure the successful implementation of the BBP. Secretary Abad and I are here on instructions of the President to attest to this commitment behind which the entire government stands. Our commitment remains firm as together we work together towards the passage and ratification of the Bangsamoro Basic Law that is faithful to the vision and aspirations of the CAB. At present, the BBL is undergoing deliberations in both the Senate and the House of Representatives as Senate Bill 2408 and House Bill 4994, respectively. The Ad Hoc Committee in the House of Representatives, headed by Cagayan de Oro Representative Rufus Rodriguez, and the Committee on Local Government in the Senate, headed by Senator Ferdinand Marcos Jr., have been working overtime, even during the period of recess, to make sure that the proposed Bangsamoro Basic Law will be enacted with enough time for an effective transition. Consultations will continue until December, and we remain optimistic that the proposed bill will be enacted early next year. Countless fora, discussions, and consultations outside this government and congressional initiatives are also being held all around the country in an effort by the Filipino people to understand the Bangsamoro Basic Law and the principles and proposed practices for genuine autonomy it seeks to establish. The momentum for peace has gained ground and it cannot be stopped. This shows how much our people have come to understand that peace and development are responsibilities we all share as Filipinos. This shows the dream we all share to finally see peace in our time. Next Wednesday and Thursday in Davao City, the BBP will be presented to the public through the Philippine Development Forum, co-chaired by government and the MILF, with President Aquino himself Keynote speaker. With the conduct of the Philippine Development Forum, government joins hands with the MILF in inviting the partnership of the international community, the private sector, and civil society, and indeed the entire Filipino people, in ensuring that this plan will work and become a reality on the ground where communities live, where people make their living or suffer from the lack of it, where children await the clearer, brighter future they deserve. As we advance further on our journey to genuine peace in Mindanao, we know we will be facing even more challenges. But we take comfort and courage in knowing that the peace process continues to prosper because of the many individuals who care enough to safeguard this journey to lasting peace. This includes all of us here. As we have always said, it will take real and much effort. But just as we all share the responsibility of working for peace and development, so will we all share the prosperity it will bring. Just as we have all waited and worked together in the darkness of strife and conflict, so do we all stand now on a foundation built by trust with the greatest care, hand in hand, as we welcome the new dawn of peace and prosperity. And it has never been better, it has never been brighter, it has never been more beautiful. Maraming salamat po, Sultan.
For our next speaker, just to inform everyone, last October 27, she has been conferred by President Aquino III with the Presidential Award with a citation for Order of La Candula with the ranking of a Grand Officer. May we give you the Resident Humanitarian Coordinator of United Nations, Dr. Luisa Carvalho.
Good morning, Rationale, esteemed members of the MILF Central Committee, dear Chair, distinguished facilitator, Secretary of this process, the Secretary Ellis, the Secretary Budgetary, the Chair Iqbal, and the distinguished members, the Chair Staff and Director from the BDA team, and dear BDP Mission Impossible team. I have to make this recognition because I saw them working, so government, Bangsamoro working together. It was really a mission impossible to accomplish this plan this morning. I also saw my colleagues from World Bank and JICA and the UN and all the partners. So thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. The political authorities, colleagues from the esteemed MILF, from UN agencies, state agencies that supported this effort, World Bank, JICA, and all the partners, European Union, Australia, all others that supported. Dear members of the IMT, dear friends, it's indeed an honor to be here today in Camp Darapanan to witness another milestone accomplishment of the Bangsamoro peace process. In the turnover of the Bangsamoro Development Plan, a roadmap to human and sustainable development. Credits and applauses go to all who worked so hard in this critical project. Development peace, as Secretary Dallas said, only works if they are together. Development is not sustainable if large segments of the population are discriminated against, are suffering under conflict, or are disempowered. In addition, peace agreements do not lead to lasting peace if their implementation does not bring an equally significant increase in basic services, participation, and economic opportunities for all segments of the population. The This is where the Bangsamoro Development Plan presents both a significant opportunity as well as an important challenge. The drafters of the plan, led by the Bangsamoro Development Authority and all the participants, should be lauded for their knowledge of sustainable human development, principles and practices, as well as the imperative of effective peacebuilding. Our plans and agreements are only as good as the mid and long-term machinery and supporting mechanisms that are set up for their effective implementation. A number of key factors will determine how well the BDP is able to deliver on its promises. First, both lasting peace and sustainable development happen only in a context where the population feels secure enough to invest, to settle down, to plan for the future, and to coexist in peace. Second, lasting peace and sustainable development will only happen within a context of constructive coexistence and reconciliation. Bangsamoro is part of the larger Filipino nation, and Muslims, Christians, and indigenous people, and the social and cultural identities of all tribes within the Bangsamoro itself are part and parcel of this project towards building a better future in a prosperous Bangsamoro autonomous region. Equally critical from a development perspective is to ensure that Bangsamoro has the capability to guarantee, without prejudice, the full human rights of all its residents. Third, for many residents of the Bangsamoro, a new peace will only have an immediate and daily meaning through a system of governance that is able to deliver basic services in an equitable, transparent, and accountable manner. Over the past 2 years, the current government of the autonomous region of the Muslim Mindanao, which will transition to Bangsamoro, has undertaken crucial reforms. Building on these steps, the new Bangsamoro will start with a public administration that has already made a lot of progress and carry the promise of effective and accountable governance. Fourth, the strength and resilience of Bangsamoro communities will be crucial to a lasting peace. Displacement caused by conflict has affected many of these communities in the projected Bangsamoro area, and the rights and development needs of vulnerable groups such as youth, women, children affected by conflict, and indigenous people has to be addressed. Safer and more resilient communities will provide a stable foundation for the new Bangsamoro. Fifth, and finally, Bangsamoro will need to develop a very strong short-term plan for marshalling revenues and invest them in the expansion of economic opportunity for all its citizens. The public is coming. The private sector also has to come. With both need to be mobilized for this purpose, and profits and social responsibility will both need to go hand in hand. Many of these elements are captured in the BDP. They will now be translated into concrete practices and actions for the rapid development of programs and initiatives to achieve the sustainable human development objectives laid out by the BDP. The UN, like the other partners today, has been privileged to be a part of this process and walked this journey that has led to this point. And we look forward to continuing to walk this path together with you in the near and medium future. Congratulations to you all. Let's recognize this wonderful effort, involve ourselves, commit, and bring our contribution to the fore. This peace process, I have come to learn, has been a great magnet, attracting great women and great men of goodwill and commitment. And it was only possible due to the openness and constructive posture of both government and the MILF, and I'm very grateful. My best wishes to all of you in your journey. It has been a true honor to have shared with you a mileage of this process. I will keep you all in my mind and heart, and thanking you all for giving me this great opportunity to participate and take you as my friend. Now that my time is about to end, my mission here in the country, in this wonderful country, is also fast approaching. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you in Davao very shortly. Now you carry you all very close to me for the rest of the time.
Our next speaker is not actually new in this country. In 1987, he serves as the Assistant Resident Representative of the Japan International Cooperation Agency in the Philippines. But this year, he's coming back as the new Chief Representative of JICA. Ladies and gentlemen, the Country Director of Japan International Cooperation Agency, Noriaki Miwa.
Of MIL Central Committee, and first Vice Chairman Ghazali Jafar, and Chairman Muhammad Iqbal of the MIL fiscal, and BDA Chairman Sakra Department, the Malaysian facilitator King Datu King Mohammed, the OPAC Secretary, and DVM, and our friends from the development partners, and ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And Salam Alaikum. Ohayo gozaimasu. I'm really honored to join you today for the historic turnover and launching of the Bangsamoro Development Plan. As a friend and a long-term development partner of the Philippines, JICA shares your vision of lasting peace and development in the Bangsamoro communities. The completion of the BDP is a testament to your determination to bring about lasting peace and prosperity to the people of Mindanao and Bangsamoro. Allow me to reiterate JICA's support in Mindanao, as we have done since the day we initiated the JBAD, we call JBAD, Japan Bangsamoro Initiative for Reconstruction for Development, for short JBAD, in 2006. Upon taking office in JICA Philippines, I myself have met stakeholders in Mindanao to discuss on how we can work together for peace and development. We sincerely thank you for working steadily with JICA. Particularly the comprehensive capacity development project for the Bangsamoro, we call it CCDP, which has 4 components: the development plan, and service deliveries, and human resource development, and institutional organizational buildings. We are proud to be part of the BDP under the development planning component of the CCDP project, especially in data gathering and gap analysis, and also in studying the potential for development and validating the technical information in its priority sectors. through the BDP, it is very clear that we share collective vision in the transition to Bangsamoro government and in developing the local economies. So let us remember the significance of all of our effort today. I believe that we are doing those efforts to help improve the quality of life in Mindanao, and to ensure a better future, especially for young generation, next generations. Let us therefore continue working together to achieve the lasting peace and development to the people of Mindanao. Thank you very much. Salamat po and shukran.
Our last speaker is speaking on behalf of the country director of World Bank, the officer in charge of World Bank for now, Mr. Matt Stevens.
Chairman Murad, Secretary Dallas, Secretary Abad, distinguished facilitator, Rob Zaf, Dr. White, Mohammed Jacob, to officials of the government and of the MILF, to my friends in the international development community, Mapia Mapika. They are the only words I know in Maguindanao. They work every time. We've heard a lot of speeches today. I'm going to be brief. I'm just going to make a few points. The first, of course, is to congratulate the MILF and the BDA on completing the Maguindanao Development Plan. As Dr. Zaf mentioned, this has been a long-standing aspiration of the BDA. So congratulations to you. The second point I want to make is to thank you for the privilege of asking us to work with you on. It's been a technically and politically challenging process, one that I think has tested us to our limits and maybe beyond at times. Thank you for that privilege. Where we've had shortcomings in our work and support to you and the government, please accept our humble apologies. I'm not going to talk about the plan or what you need to do or implementing it. I wanted to take the chance here to reflect a little on the process. I really have 3 points on the process. First, I think, is to reflect on the bold foresight of the government, the MILF, in creating a development arm for the MILF. As the facilitator said, not many revolutionary groups have a development arm, maybe none have written a development plan. This was a bold move, and I think through this process we've seen that investment bearing fruit. Because when you started developing the BDP, began from relationships of trust, relationships of mutual understanding with the government and with the development partners. This allowed the BDA to be open about areas where they needed help. It allowed us to speak freely and frankly and give direct feedback to the BDA without the risk of damaging what is an established relationship. This mutual understanding and trust allowed the BDA to fulfill this task despite the immense challenges. So congratulations to the government and the MILF. As the process progressed, we found BDA more confident in reaching out to the government, seeking the technical and political support that's necessary for this plan to have meaning in the future. Which brings me to my next point. Secretary Dallas has spoken to this already. As an independent observer in this process, I think if anyone were to question the commitment of the government to implementing the cap, supporting development in the Bangsamoro, then this process would put such concerns to rest. Personally, I was astonished to see the level of direct input from cabinet secretaries on multiple occasions, input directly from the president himself. We've seen staff from OPAP, NEDA, DOF, ARMM, many line agencies expending significant political capital and time to support the formulation of this plan. So I think there can be no question, looking at it as an independent observer, that the government is serious about the BDP, and they are making budget decisions already based on this plan. So I think that is a tribute to the tremendous partnership between the MILF and the government here. My third observation is, those may question, will the MILF govern in an inclusive manner? will the MILF deliver development and meet the expectations of the communities that the comprehensive agreement will lead to better economic welfare? I would say look at the content of the plan. It reaches out to different groups and promotes needs-based distribution of resources. Throughout the process, the marching orders that came down to the core planning team from the Central Committee consistently, resources should go where they're needed. We should be inclusive, free from political considerations. To me, these are 3 points that really stood out from what has been such an interesting, fulfilling process of supporting the DEA with this plan together. The international community has played a small part, I think, in assisting with this process. There's been financial and technical assistance provided through the World Bank by the Maguindanao Trust Fund. I wanted to acknowledge the European Union, the governments of Sweden, Australia, Canada, the United States, and New Zealand for their support to the Maguindanao Trust Fund. I wanted to acknowledge the partnership with UN and JICA for supporting the BDA and the core planning team. Thank you for your collegiality and friendship. We do want to take the chance to acknowledge the World Bank team, which has worked tirelessly with integrity and a constant drive for excellence. I'm going to name them: Mitchell Abdon, Camina Adriano, Asal Gando, Ika Fernandez, Nick Bethlen, various times Sam Zidek, Roy Tordesillas, and more recently Soraya Carlin, made important contributions as well. Well done to our team. Good job. In closing, once again, congratulations. Thank you for the opportunity to support this process. Of course, I want to reaffirm the World Bank's unwavering commitment. We will stay the course. We are here long-term to work with the MILF, with the national government, with the local governments, later the BTA, the Bangsamoro government, once established, to help turn the vision of the BDP into a reality of just and lasting peace and sustainable development in Bangsamoro. Thank you very much for your time.
And finally, we have our last speaker, and we are thankful that he agreed with it. Ladies and gentlemen, August Buddy, the Secretary of Department of Budget and Management, Secretary Budgetary.
As you may note, I'm not originally in the program. I guess this gathering will not be complete without you hearing from the Department of Budget and Management. Chairman Kudarat, the Vice Chair, and the members of the Executive Committee of my left, distinguished leader, Chairman Mal, and our local government representatives, my colleagues in the national government, ladies and gentlemen, magandang tanghali po sa inyo lahat. The President is deeply committed to this peace process, including ensuring, and we have received firm and clear instructions from him, in ensuring that there is adequate and ample financing for the Bangsamoro development. We did not go very far just to leave you here looking for ways to make sure that you are able to implement this plan. We are with you here and we will be with you all the way. As you know, the Philippine government over the past 4 years has achieved unprecedented gains in various aspects of our society, including growing the economy to become the #1 growing economy in Southeast Asia and the second fastest growing economy in Asia. Thanks to you, our brothers and sisters from Bangsamoro, as well as from brothers and sisters all over the country, who have supported and trusted this government to be able to achieve what it has achieved today, including forging a peace agreement with the Bangsamoro people. As you know, right now as we speak, the work continues in making sure that the Bangsamoro Development Plan truly becomes a living document that can be successfully implemented. Over the past 4 years as Secretary of Budget and Management, apart from the challenge of raising money for the different programs of national government, the other, I think, big challenge that we also must face is how we can bring about immediate benefits to the people who have high expectations about what the peace process can give them. And I think that's why it's critical for us also to look seriously on how we can, in fact, execute and deliver on the promise of the Bangsamoro Development Plan. And here is where I think the national government, especially the Department of Budget and Management, can really work with you to make sure that the benefits of the plan can directly, exclusively, and immediately benefit the most vulnerable and marginal segments of the Bangsamoro region. And I think we have enough experience to be able to share with you both our difficult lessons, our failures, as well as our achievements in making sure that the benefits of development, especially social protection and social services programs, get to the people as soon as possible. At the end of the day also, I think it's also important for us to be able to deliver all of these services and programs with the greatest transparency and accountability and engagement of our people, as you did already in the process of putting together the Bangsamoro Development Plan. Because at the end of the day, as has been the experience of the Aquino administration, what is most critical, especially since you'll be going through one historic event after another and one difficult transition after another, you must keep the trust and the approval of your people every step of the way. That's why I think being able to implement this as soon as possible to meet the expectations of our people in the most transparent and accountable way, I think is the best way to go. And we at the national government, we are committed to helping you along this path. So on behalf of the President Aquino and members of our cabinet, we wish to congratulate once again the Bangsamoro Development Agency as well as the MILF for another historic event, putting together the roadmap to a sustainable and peaceful Bangsamoro homeland. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So before we formally close the program, we'd like to call on the chairman of the Bangsamoro Development Agency, Dr. Satula M. Patwa, to read the MILF Central Committee Resolution number 001/10, Series of 2014, resolution affirming the status of the Bangsamoro Development Agency as the development agency of the MILF, tasked to determine, lead, and manage rehabilitation and development projects in the conflict-affected areas, and as donor coordination unit of the MILF during the pre-transition period. Chairman.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Moro Islamic Liberation Front, Central Committee, Resolution number 001/10, Series of 2014. Resolution affirming the status of the Bangsamoro Development Agency, BDA, as the development agency of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, tasked to determine, lead, and manage rehabilitation and development projects in the conflict-affected areas, and as donor coordination unit of the MILF during the pre-transition period. Whereas, the implementing guidelines on rehabilitation and development aspect of the Tripoli Agreement on Peace between the MILF and the Philippine government, signed on June 22, 2001, which is part of the Comprehensive Agreement on the Bangsamoro, provided that the MILF shall determine, lead, and manage rehabilitation and development projects in the conflict-affected areas, except when public funds are involved, in which case government procedures and rules will be observed. Whereas, the Bangsamoro Development Agency was created by the MILF Central Committee as the development agency of the MILF under the office of the chairman and tasked to implement the above-mentioned MILF mandate in the GPH MILF peace process. Whereas, the competence and potential of the BDA to determine, lead, and manage development projects has been effectively manifested during its role in implementing development projects for the past several years in cooperation with different government agencies and foreign funding institutions such as the Japan International Cooperation Agency, World Bank, United Nations Development Programs, and other institutions, both local and international. Whereas, there is a need to affirm and clarify the role and mandate of the BDA, particularly the pre-transition and transition period towards the establishment of the Bangsamoro government as envisioned in the CAB. Whereas, the status of the BDA as a continuing and subsisting agency of the MILF on development is affirmed by the Central Committee of the MILF. Whereas, during the transition period, the role of the BDA in development programs shall be determined jointly by the MILF Central Committee and the Bangsamoro Transition Authority. Wherefore, the Central Committee in full session resolves, as it hereby resolves the following. Number 1, the BDA shall continue its principal role in the peace process to determine, lead, and manage rehabilitation and development projects in conflict-affected areas and as the development agency of the MILF. Number 2, all organs and agencies, including foreign and international institutions engaged in development in the conflict-affected areas, are hereby enjoined to extend their coordination and cooperation with the BDA in the interest of having a common stance on the socio-economic programs in the area. The BDA, number 3, the BDA shall continue to draft and refine the Bangsamoro Development Plan pursuant to its mandate from the office of the MILF chairman. Number 4, the BDA is hereby established as the Development and Donor Coordination Unit of the MILF during the pre-transition period until the Bangsamoro Transition Authority is established. Number 5, finally, let copies of this resolution be disseminated to concerned parties, the MILF membership, and relevant development and donor partners as may be necessary. Done this 21st day of Dhul Hijjah, 1435 Hijrah, corresponding to October 15, 2014 at Camp Darapanan, Sultan, Kudarat, Maguindanao Province. Signed, attested Muhammad Amin, Secretary Central Committee of the MILF, and approved by Al-Haj Murad Ibrahim, Chairman Central Committee, MILF. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Paula. It has been a long morning for all of us, and we understand, we appreciate that most of us have put a lot of effort in coming here. So we truly say thank you for being with us. To formally close the program, we would like to call on the first Vice Chairman of the Central Committee of the MILF, Sheikh Ghazali Jafar.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Tunku Dato Abdul Jafar bin Tunku Muhammad Indonesia Secretary Dilis Opa Secretary Budgetary of DBM, Brother Murad, Chairman of the MILF, Madam Luisa Carvalho, Resident Coordinator of the United Nations in the Philippines. Norlaki Liwa, Country Director of China. Representative of World Bank, who is with us now, and our distinguished European visitors here. My colleagues in the Central Committee, one is the Chairman of Sharia Court, the MILF, and the Chairman of Majlis Shura, the MILF, and the Mufti of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, our Chief of Staff in the Bangsamoro Islamic Armed Forces, Rationale, and my brother Muhammad Iqbal, Chairman of the MILF East Panel, leadership of the Bangsamoro Development Authority, Chairman Dr. Sakrula, and Executive Director Sheikh Muhammad Shoaib, former Chairman of the BDA, Dr. Wandai, who is with us here, other members of the Central Committee around, leaders of different provincial committees from Western Mindanao, from Lanao region, from Davao region, from Central Mindanao region. I'm referring to the provincial committee chairman, who are with us now, and officials, local government units, non-government organizations who are with us now. I have the honor of closing this momentous ceremony. The MILF Bangsamoro Development Plan is unlike any other development plan. It is unique because it was formulated while communities are still emerging from protracted conflict. The plan provides a clear blueprint to address sources of dissatisfaction rooted in injustice and oppression to the Bangsamoro. After 4 decades of struggle to attain self-governance, we are ready to take on the difficult challenge of rehabilitation, reconstruction, and development, and indeed nation building for the Bangsamoro people. The future of the Bangsamoro begins with a good, right, and noble plan, with a strong resolve to make that plan a reality. In this regard, I wish to make a few points. First, we have set out an ambitious timeline for the implementation of the plan. It is important that we stick to the timelessness of the envisaged activities to meet our target dates for the effective and efficient completion of projects and programs. This will be essential to ensure that our sector and overall macroeconomic growth targets are met. In this context, the Bangsamoro Transition Authority and the Bangsamoro government will set in place the necessary institutional arrangement for the plan implementation in a timely manner. Second, close coordination among the partner agencies supporting the plan will be vital for ensuring duplication of efforts is avoided and that projects of vigorous agencies complement each other to maximize development impact. Such coordination will also ensure that we remain consistent in meeting the objectives of the plan, as well as in harmony with the overall theme and trust when undertaking specific activities initiated in the plan. We are ready to assist and facilitate in the coordination among the development partners. Third, a robust consultative process with the communities set in train during plan formulation should continue to take place during implementation to ensure strong and meaningful participation of the Bangsamoro communities in close collaboration with the BDA and its regional offices. This would also enable the dividends of peace to be felt directly by our communities at the grassroots level, commensurate with the needs and aspirations of our communities and ensuring an inclusive and participatory approach to plan implementation. Fourth, we need to collaborate closely with the private sector and actively promote private investment for growth and job creation as a critical complement to public sector funding. The aim should be to establish a sound business and investment climate that is conducive for investment with supporting policy and institutional options that enhance private sector initiatives. must be ensured that key private sector investors, business councils, Chamber of Commerce and Industry are consulted and their requirements attended to for augmenting investments in the Bangsamoro. Fifth, I would like to underscore that while hardware components of the plan are crucial, just as important is the software side. I'd like to stress that the development partners must take into account the governance, capacity building, and institutional development needs of the Bangsamoro, many of which are articulated in the plan. This would be in keeping with the Sustainable Human Development Trust of the plan. Finally, the plan is only as good if it comes with a solid medium-term budget framework, costing of priority projects and programs as those be an integral component of the plan, including possible sources for financing of identified short and medium-term initiatives. In this regard, the support the national government agencies, development community, and the private investment to meet the financing needs of the plan will be crucial. I am sure that with assistance from the national government and our international and local development partners, we will address the challenges ahead. Our concerted efforts during the short and medium term of the plan, we hope, will bring peace, reduce object poverty, and strengthen governance and institutions, reduce employment, and establish higher income to improve the overall quality of life for all constituents of Bangsamoro. On behalf of the MILF Central Committee headed by Brother Haji Murad, thank you again for your support of the Bangsamoro and the MILF Bangsamoro Development Plan. The presence of government-line agencies, international development partners, civil society organizations, and local government units is clearly a manifestation of your confidence and support for the realization of a just, honorable, peaceful, and prosperous Bangsamoro. We assure you that we will do our utmost efforts to achieve the success of the plan, inshallah, God willing. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
We will have the closing dua of our Mufti, Sheikh Abu Hurairah Abdul Rahman Al-Basan.
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. We beseech you, Almighty Allah, of your benevolence and your all-embracing blessing upon us on this auspicious occasion of the launching of the Bangsamoro development plan. Ya Allah, O Almighty Allah, make the steps of our leaders as well as the entire Moro people firm and strong for the development of our dear and beloved Bangsamoro spiritually, morally, and physically. Ya Allah, O Almighty Allah, provide our sympathizers and our supporters more vigor and strength or more sustenance for the realization of our noble aspiration towards astounding success and prosperity of the Bangsamoro in this worldly life and the next world. Ya Allah, safeguard us against deviating from the truth. Guide us and enlighten us in all our undertaking. Condemn us not if we forget and fall into error. Lay not on us burden beyond our capacity and greater than our strength to be. Blot out our sins and grant us forgiveness. Ya Allah, O Almighty Allah, forgive those who sacrifice their lives for the sake of keeping your word supreme. Let their souls lay in peace in your eternality and in your place in the heaven. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم يسر لنا أمورنا. اللهم بارك لنا في جميع شؤوننا. اللهم وحد بين صفوف المجاهدين في سبيلك. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار والحمد لله رب العالمين.